We are privileged to welcome to the Hour of Power Captain J. Charles Plumb. As a farm boy from Kansas, Charlie always dreamt about airplanes. That boyhood dream was realized when Charlie graduated from the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. After attending the Top Gun Navy Weapons School, Captain Plumb flew the Navy's hottest airplane, the F-4 Phantom jet, off the aircraft carrier, the USS Kitty Hawk. Please welcome with me this morning, Captain J. Charles Plumb.
Hi, Charlie. Great to be with you.
Now, you have quite a remarkable story to tell the world, and maybe we can begin with this infamous date, May 19, 1967. What happened?
It was a beautiful day, and I was 5 days from the end of my tour in Vietnam. I was flying the F-4 Phantom jet, hottest airplane in the world at the time, and we had big-time air strikes on the capital city of Hanoi. Just short of the target, I was hit by a surface-to-air missile. My co-pilot and I ejected from the airplane, and we parachuted into enemy hands. And that became the 6-year odyssey of my experience as a prisoner of war.
So 6 years you were, and where were you as a prisoner?
Hanoi, North Vietnam for the most part. The Hanoi Hilton was what we named that. And then they moved us around, about every 4 or 5 months, they'd move us around to a different camp.
Yeah. And so there you were 6 years as a POW, and I hate to ask, but what was that like?
Well, it was difficult, especially at first. We were tortured for the first several days, and then about every 6 or 8 months they would come back. But our spirits were high. You know, we had that baseline foundation of faith and dedication to our country, and the fact that we were able to communicate with each other, though they didn't want us to. We communicated, and so we had the support.
And of course, you had a special way of communicating. You were a chaplain, right?
Well, I was, as a matter of fact. I was appointed chaplain of the prison unit for 2 years. I served as chaplain.
And that, what a task to be a chaplain, serving men who are demoralized, suffering, tortured. You must have learned a tremendous amount.
Well, yes, and not only that, but they would not allow us to have a church service or a Bible. A communist country, the last thing they wanted was for us to have a belief in a higher power.
Yeah.
And so we had to hide. We had to post a person at the door to the cell while we were on our knees in prayer. But every Sunday morning and every Wednesday evening, we had a service. And I was Preacher Plumb there for 2 years. At one point in our experience there were several of us in the same prison cell, and we decided that we wanted a Bible, and it was worth it for us to go on a hunger strike for a Bible. So we quit eating and told them that until they brought us a Bible, we were not going to eat. They countered by cutting off our water supply. Now you can go a long way without fish heads and rice, but water is pretty essential.
Yeah, it's like 3 days or 4 days, something like that.
That's true. Yeah. At the end of the second day, when we were just about to give up, almost a miracle, we found a hole in the prison wall, and we burrowed out that hole and put a tar paper tube through the hole. The guys in the cell next to us were not on a hunger strike. They poured half their ration of water into that tar paper tube, and we caught the drops on the other side. So we survived. And they gave us a Bible for a day and a half.
Because it was a miracle.
It was a miracle. It was. And we copied from both sides of a page from that Bible on pieces of toilet paper, which is all we had, and ink made from brick dust and ashes, because we knew they were going to take it away, and they did.
Well, you can't copy all the Bible, right? So
no.
My question is, what did you pick to copy?
We copied the Christmas story from Luke. We copied nearly the whole chapter of Job. We felt real close to Job in those days.
Yeah.
And the Easter story.
Yeah, that's great. So you were there, so you had 6 Christmases there. What was Christmas like in the Hanoi Hilton?
Well, of course, we wanted to cling to any kind of tradition that we had, because that was our baseline, was our faith and our tradition. And so every Christmas, we'd find some way to celebrate. Again, the communists did not want us to celebrate. So the Christmas of 1970, I remember very well. I was in a prison cell with Danny Glenn. He was an architecture student from University of Oklahoma. And so he designed and put on the wall to this cell a nativity scene. He used brick dust. I couldn't believe there were so many colors of brick, and he would grind this down and put some water in it, and he would paint. Wow. And it was a beautiful picture of the manger scene and the baby Jesus and the wise men and the shepherds, and the whole thing was right there on the wall. Well, we covered the thing up with rags, but they came in and found it. Wow. And so they took all of our clothes and put Danny and me outside on Christmas Eve. We were outside the cell all night long. The last Christmas I was there, Christmas of 1972 was the last Christmas that I was there. And Danny was getting kind of tired of being outside in the cold on Christmas. And so, but just two of us. We had a two-man cell. And Dan said, "What are we going to do for Christmas this year?" I said, "We haven't been too successful, Danny. Let's forget about it this year." "Oh, no, we can't do that." He said, "We're going to have a slideshow." We found some lard, and we made a candle out of lard, okay? We could light this candle, put it inside a tar paper tube with a little light shining out of the tar paper tube. And then we put silhouettes of the Christmas scene. And so here's two old guys sitting in this prison cell a long way from home, singing Christmas carols to each other and watching the silhouettes of the baby Jesus and the wise men and the shepherds on the wall of this prison cell.
Wow. And so now you made it out of, sure, you could give him an applause. So you made it out of Vietnam, and now you speak to the world. And what do you say to the world based on what you learned from that experience?
The essence of my message is, how do you handle the challenges of life? And my byline is, adversity is a horrible thing to waste.
Say that again.
Adversity is a horrible thing to waste. I think when we get into problems, the first thing we do is start feeling sorry for ourselves, blaming everybody else for the problem, denying that we have any control of our destiny, when in reality, within every challenge we are ever given, there's an opportunity in there. The Bible speaks to it. Yeah. Philosophers speak to it, but we forget that within the challenges of life, there's a seed of an opportunity. And so the key is to find that seed and nurture the growth of that seed, whatever it might be. And that's my message.
That's wonderful. Captain Charlie Plumb, we're so thankful that you came and told us your story and blessed us with your message.
Thank you.
Remember it.
Thank you, Bobby.
And maybe we can welcome him again and thank him for coming to this place.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.